Hey, Flomies, it's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. So this week we are interviewing Cesar Bejar. He is a longtime window cleaner, has a company windowcleaner.pro out of Texas, but he most recently started a new business called MC2 Synergia, which we're going to talk about in the interview. He's got a great story coming up, starting his business, and also the time when he started to realize that he wasn't going to be able to really do windows as he had before, and he moved on to the next phase of his life. Now, before we get into the interview, I have to apologize to you. My setup, I have my microphone and my camera connected to a hub. And so when I recorded this video, that hub fell out of my laptop. I did not realize it. I recorded the whole interview with bad audio and bad video, so it's going to sound really bad. I just want to apologize ahead of the interview, but it's got really good information. In fact, at the end of it, with his new company, Cesar has a really generous offer for 10 Flomies. That he's going to offer his services to help your business with its online presence. So please listen to the whole interview, listen to what he has to offer, and you might be able to really benefit your company because of his generosity. So I know you're going to enjoy it. Thanks so much, and let's get into the interview.
Hey, Flomies, time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. We are so happy to have a fellow Flomie here. Cesar Bejar, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, guys, fellow Flomies? Very happy, saying howdy from San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah, beautiful background there.
I wish I was there, but hey.
There again. Very cool. Well, we wanted to have you on, Cesar, because you have a couple businesses. One, which is how you got associated with into the flow and in the window cleaning industry. You own windowcleaners.pro.
Correct. Yes, sir.
And you've been able to, we're going to look forward to learning about how you grew that business and found the success that you did. But you also started another business, MC2 Synergia. And we're going to get into a lot. I really want to pick your brain on that topic, because this is going to be all about websites, SEO, getting pulled up on the Google algorithm, and you're going to be able to give us a lot of tips that can help small business owners like us be smart on how we use the internet and have customers find us. But before we get into all that, I did want to just, we don't really get to know each other as well on the in the group. So why don't you tell us a little bit? Tell us first of all, how did you get started with window cleaning? What was your entry into your company?
Oh, I was forcefully put into window cleaning. I mean, in a positive way. Let me share with you and with all the fellow Flomies about it. So we used to have a cleaning company here in San Antonio, Texas, beautiful San Antonio, Texas, right? We purchased that franchise, and beyond regular residential cleaning, we had requests from customers, from the weirdest of the weirds. Can you help me on taking these photocopies? I'm like, okay. To window cleaning, carpet cleaning, window cleaning, mattress sanitization, like things related. Okay. And on this point, the one thing that I always thought of myself, so if I'm a window cleaner, right? If I'm a house cleaner, I'm a maid, right? Why would you ask me for window cleaning? I don't even advertise like doing window cleaning. It's like going to the doctor and asking for a plumber. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And once I had this customer that I asked him, hey, can I ask you something? And he was like, yeah, sure, young man. And so imagine his age, right? If he's calling me young man. So he was like, I asked him, why would you ask me for window cleaning? Why would you ask me for cleaning your leather furniture if I'm a regular maid? He was like, do you have time to sip up some coffee with me? I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, I was not expecting that, but if that's what I need to go through to get an answer from you, I'll go ahead and do it. So we sat down. He served me the best coffee ever tried. Sorry, Starbucks. Sorry, Jim Hortons. Sorry, all those guys. Caribou coffee, the best cup of coffee I've ever had. And he tells me, well, the reason I wanted to ask you is because if you are so reliable and so on point cleaning my house, well, at least I expect that you recommend someone that cleans the windows as thorough as you do it. So then it was an aha moment for me. I was like, aha. So he's hiring me and my crews not because we are really good at cleaning, which we were, right?
Yeah.
It's because he trusts on us.
Yeah.
And I started looking like crazy for someone for cleaning windows, right? Uh, and I had someone that was doing the window cleaning for me until one moment that I came across a customer. I said, you know something? Can you send me someone else? I didn't feel comfortable about the last guys you sent in.
Hmm.
They were like bashing in Spanish, and they didn't realize that my wife and I are fluent in Spanish, and
Oh, wow.
we didn't like what they were saying. I'm so sorry. I do apologize for that. Uh, let me see what I can do for you. And then he tells me, I'm willing to pay more than the $700 you guys are charging me. And I'm like, what? Means you're willing to pay more than $700 for a house? I mean, back then I didn't realize what was that about, but I was like, wait a minute, $700 for cleaning windows. I'm charging you less than half of what you're paying for cleaning the whole house.
Right.
And it was, I'm gonna say maybe 30 to 35 windows.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I look into it, and I was very upfront with the guy. I say, hey, I am willing to learn how to do windows for your peace of mind. So if you allow me, I'm gonna go ahead, learn the basics, and I'll come back and do your windows. Will that work for you? And he was like, sure, no problem. And maybe the very first time around, second time around, I won't charge you, but then we'll talk about it. I was that open because if the guy saw me that I had like I was not versed on using a squeegee and a mop, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be upfront with him, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Oh no, Cesar, please." Like I mentioned, I'm willing to pay more than the $700 I was paying. I'm like, okay, get me out of here. That's why I got dragged into it. So that's what I always say.
Look
I
at
was
that.
forcefully put to
But
to
see,
clean windows.
you did it the smart way though, because you offered to not charge until you had the skill. The temptation would have been to say, oh, well, I can make the $700. Well, okay, I'll do it for $700. And then you would have lost trust there, because then they would have seen, even though they were uncomfortable with the other guys, they would have seen that they knew what they were doing and you didn't. So by you offering to do the first one for free, that you kind of were helping them you're being upfront with them, which I'm sure helped them to be more comfortable with you even after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what I was dragging to window cleaning.
Yeah.
Then I fell in love. I fell in love with window cleaning. It seems so easy, but at the same time, it is so challenging
Sure.
when you start cleaning more windows, and then you have to remove screens, and then you have the pellas, and you have the SESs, and then you start mentioning that. But I was open to learn. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I went on YouTube like crazy watching videos from other guys. I mean, I friended every single YouTuber related to window cleaning like crazy. Keith Kalfas. Back then it was as well. What was the name of this guy? A bearded guy that
Luke.
was
Luke.
Luke.
Yeah.
Luke, the window cleaner.
Yeah.
I mean, I went all over it
Yeah.
like crazy, and then it felt. I mean, I found really good friends. Like I was not expecting that. Let me give you an example of it. I mean, and this is I'm pretty much sure you've used their services, but this will be as well as the newcomers into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to tell you, I've met a couple of window cleaners that they are amazed about the equipment that I have. Okay, I was maybe 3 months into window cleaning, and I already had my water fed pole set up. I had all that, and say, how were you able to afford that? And I'm going to tell you how I was available to afford that. Do you know I didn't pay any money to get my setup? Like none, zero, nada. So here's how I did it. So I texted Kit Calfas, okay? I told him, hey, I know nothing. So if you were newbie into the industry, where would you buy your stuff? And they pointed me to Detroit Sponge. Okay. I went to Detroit Sponge, pick up the phone, uh, and the owner of Detroit Sponge picks up the phone right away. And I'm like, you know something? Your voice sounds familiar of what I've seen on Keith Kalfa's videos. He said, yeah, it's me. Okay. And I explained to him what was going on. Hey, I have a project. I need water-fed pole because I'm scared of heights. I'm not going into a ladder. And I sent him pictures and he was like, hey, I have a used unit here.
Hmm.
Okay. I do believe back then it was worth like 1,200, something like that. So I said, okay. And you have payment plans. Sure, I have payment plans. So he gives me 12 months. Okay, send it over. It ended up not being the technology I needed because of the level of hot water we have here. So I called him back. I say, hey, you know something? I went through the thing. I went through the oh, wait a minute. Jesus, I forgot. I went through the resin. I'm sorry. I went through the resin like crazy. 2 jobs.
Oh, the resin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, where you at? And I tell him, this is where I'm at San Antonio. Oh, no. He explains me further into it. He sends me a document, go through it. And he was like, let's do something. Tell me how much you made on those 2 jobs. I made this amount. Send it back. And I set you up with a technology that will match what will be over there.
Nice.
Okay. So I made the money out of those 2 jobs and I was able to purchase my own equipment.
Nice.
And they swapped the equipment for that. So, I mean, just sharing that with you because nowadays, I don't know if that's the case for everyone, but it seems that when you're starting a business, you need to have like bottomless pockets to be able to pull out money every single time. And what I would say is just talk to someone, see what can be done. Hey, just to speak up. The worst thing scenario will be, hey, you know something? No, we can do it. We can do it that way. Okay. So where you are already at where you're at. So just to speak up, get involved, participate, talk to people, text them. You'll be amazed how many times I got answers far back from Keith, from Luke, from all those guys out there that are willing to give you a little, I call it a little hat trick for you to be better. And go ahead and do it. I mean, just don't be scared. You're going to underprice. Oh boy, tell me about underpricing. You're going to overprice, and sometimes you think, I wish I could have charged more, but I don't know if that's the case. But I've walked away from some jobs that I'm like, did they really pay that for what I did? Man, I was in and out in 3 hours, and I have $1,500 in my pocket. It just doesn't feel right. But then you need to balance out that.
Well, you need to balance out what it's worth to the customer too, and especially I think my favorite customers are the ones who have cleaned their house by themselves, and maybe they've even done it over years, and then they hire us to come in and do it. They appreciate what we are replacing, because they're thinking of their work that they put into it. They're thinking, oh man, we spent the whole day, maybe even 2 days cleaning these windows. And now this guy comes in and does it in just, a few hours, but they're thinking it's worth the money, because if I had to do, how much would I want to be charged to do it for as long as it took me? So when you have those people, they appreciate the value. So it's more than just a money amount, and they're not doing the math in their head of what you're being paid per hour. They're thinking, what is it, what is this worth to me? How much time am I saving by having this done? So that, the other thing too, I tell people when they worry about price is, you're charging for trust and for quality.
Correct.
So if you are a reputable company and they can count on you, and you're going to be there when you say you're going to be there, to people, they're like, hey, I'd rather pay the extra money and have someone dependable than have to go through 3 or 4 different cleaners because they didn't show up on the right day, or I had one customer tell me they showed up but they didn't bring the right equipment for the job, so they had to reschedule. Stuff like that. It just really annoys the customers. But if we can show up, we're professional, we got what we need, and we do the job, and then we're out of there. There's value in that. Sure.
Most definitely. And the other thing is that I would recommend for everyone, even seasoned window cleaners. I'm pretty much sure I'm the dumbest window cleaner out there, right? It's, always find your edge. What is what you bring into what you are doing?
Yeah. And
Always,
highlight it.
always, always, because
Yeah.
that's going to become your niche. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's that. I mean, and it may come from places that you were not expecting
Mm-hmm.
at all. And I was attacked twice by a dog, but I'm my father used to breed dogs, so I know
Oh,
some dogs might have a temper, but
yeah.
I know how to react to it. You know, even with that dog with my hand grabbed. I mean, I knew how to handle the dog, and I'm gonna tell you, those two customers that you would say, I'm not going back to a house where a dog attacked me, and then I was able to let them know. I mean, I showed them respect. I mean, the dog was not waiting for me to bite
Right.
me. Something triggered that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And just by treating their I'm, I know they are a pet, but they are a family member. Just by treating them the right, even if they were attacking me, they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I got the second time I got attacked, I got tipped $250." I said, "You know something? Bring in your other dog. I don't care. Bring it
Line
on."
them up. Line them up.
Yeah, but just by knowing your edge, you know,
Yeah.
have assurance of what you are doing, and also be humble. Be humble
Yeah.
as to tell the customer, I did my best. I pull out all the tricks I know how to do, and
Yeah.
I was not able to do something up to my standards. Now, there's two outcomes here. Either I don't charge you, or you give me a couple of days. I'm going to go seek for some coaching. And if I can do it, I'll come back. I'm not charging you at the moment. If I can fix it, good. If not, you just got yourself a free cleaning,
Yeah.
which is like you are maybe overstretching. But believe me, I, the times that I've done it, I have always been paid, just to put
Yeah.
it in a short way.
Me too. Yeah. Me
Always.
too. I had one client where I can't remember now even what the problem was or why I offered to just do it for free. Um, oh, I remember what it was. It was one of our techs had come and she had accused him of scratching the windows. It was pretty obvious it wasn't him. You know, it was
Mhm.
existing scratches. They just weren't consistent with what a window cleaner would do to windows. But the problem was the tech. He kind of let her get to him, and he lost his temper. You know,
Mhm.
and so he basically he didn't walk off the job, but he walked off the job. Right? He didn't make sure that she was satisfied with the windows, so she called up real upset. And so I went back to follow up on it, and she walked me through the windows of concern. And I explained to her because we do scratch removal as well, and I
Mhm.
explained to her why these scratches were not consistent with window cleaning. I explained what we could do, and there was basically one picture window that was her biggest concern because that was in the front yard. It was what everybody saw. I said, "Here's what I'll do. I'll offer to do the scratch removal on this window here, not on all of them because there was like 6 or 7 windows that she was concerned about. I said I'll just do this as not necessarily to say that it was our fault that the scratches came, but because you were not treated up to our standards of customer service at that time. And
Mhm.
I said because of that as well, we're also not going to charge you for your window cleaning. So this is on the house. This is our expression to you that we're sorry that you didn't, our tech did not meet the customer service standards that we have. And she was like kind of taken aback at first, and she accepted the free scratch removal, but she insisted on paying, and it was like about a $500 job. She insisted
Mhm.
on paying for the window cleaning, which I appreciated. That helped me out because
Mhm.
I was already taking a big loss on that scratch removal job that I was doing for free. But at the end, she told us, listen, I have never received such a good response to a complaint that I made to a business, and I really appreciate that you, one, didn't, he didn't accept or he didn't take my payment at the time or expect the payment at the time. Two, that you offered to do it for free. She said because I forgot how she worded it, but basically she's like, you allowed me to retain the power that I was trying to get.
Correct.
And by doing that, you're kind of telling her, you're in charge, you're in control. I'm going to go to according to what your needs are. And by showing that respect, then they're willing to kind of look at it from your point of view, and she ended up paying us. So I think it does go. Obviously, you're going to get those. Every once in a while, you get those customers who are just doing it for the money, and they're trying to get as much as they can out of you. I mean, you can't avoid those. But if they're a sincere customer and you're really just, like you said, just trying to be honest and straightforward with them, generally speaking, they're gonna pay you, because they're fair people.
And I'm going to tell you, I mean, I don't want to take up much of the time, but just sharing, right? I want to share a time that we were at fault. Okay, like we did it. I mean, it was not on purpose, but we broke a very unique soaring eagle figurine.
Oh no!
It was just an accident. Okay, but I mean, at that time I was with the customer at the house, very famous YouTuber, like hell of a famous YouTuber. Now you can imagine what. So here's what happened. Okay, so he had this soaring eagle in a bookshelf, and we were dusting the bookshelf. Okay. So when one of my mates was putting the eagle back, right from the tip of the wing, she chipped it off. And I'm like, oh my God. I could have pulled out the glue, because I always have glue with me, and put it back, but it just doesn't feel right. I grabbed it. I know about that. My dad and my mom used to collect porcelain figurines. And then I flipped it, and I see that it said 1 of 10, and it has a certification. And I'm like, okay,
1 of 10.
I gotta come clean.
Oh.
I go come clean with the guy, tell him what happened and so forth. And he was like, oh, no worry. We purchased that thing on a garage sale. So no worries. I'm like, you sure? I mean, if you want to, I can call my insurance. Long story short, the piece ended up being like a very unique, worth more than 20 grand. Okay. The guy purchased it for $200 at a garage sale. And he goes like, well, you know something? Let me tell you. One, thank you very much for letting me know how much that thing was worth, because we had an appraiser and everything involved.
Yeah.
Two, they are going to restore it. Okay. The company they said, we can restore it, or we can bring it back. We'll destroy it and make a new one to replace this.
Oh, wow.
So which route you want to go? And he goes like, you know something? No, let's just restore it, because it was going to be like $400 for the restoration, or $1,000 for the replacement. Okay. Now let's just do the restoration, and then I'm going to sell it. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a split of the profit I'm going to make, just because of you coming clean and the way you manage everything.
Wow.
I'm like, no, that's stretching it. He goes like, no. Well, at the end, I of course I didn't accept explaining the part of it or so, but he said, you know something, go ahead and buy lunch for everyone in the team and just send me the check. I'm like, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, I mean, just sharing, just be upfront. Yeah, you might come across a customer that might yell at you because of you messed it up. Just suck it up. You did it. Take the responsibility. That's it. The chances of finding someone that really believes that it was not on purpose are greater than what you believe.
Yes, absolutely. I love that story. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So now your business has grown. It became successful. Now you retired, or maybe I guess a better word is like a semi-retirement, right?
I'm on forced sabbatical.
There you go.
Thank you to my thank you to my shoulder.
Your shoulder, yeah. So first of all, I think a big problem that we have amongst window cleaners is not planning for the future. So what are some things that you did that helped you to, when your shoulder finally gave out and you couldn't get out there, that you are able to pull back and still have the business continue on healthy?
You know something, that's a really good question. And I learned this from another industry. I mean, I've always been doing the stuff. I was a seafood broker, you name it. I was even, back in Mexico where I live, I was even a wrestling presenter.
Oh, okay, no! So I can hear it. I can hear it.
And on the corner, right? So just to give you an idea, okay? Oh, you always learn from what you do, okay? And the one thing that I learned, I filed for bankruptcy when I was very young. And it was hard for me because
Sure.
I was making a lot of money being a seafood wholesaler, right? Uh, and just to give you an idea, I was in my early 20s and I had full control of all lobster tail production in the Caribbean. So that is a lot, right?
Yeah.
Everyone went through me. So I had more than a coin to spare, right? And afterwards, I went bankrupt on that venue. Okay.
Mhm.
And then my father told me, hey, you know something? I'm going to give you a piece of advice, which is not the best piece of advice because you're not asking for it, but I've been there. You know, my father always was a hero for me. I never knew that many failures he had being an entrepreneur, but that time he shared with me. He said, hey, whatever you make, whatever your income is, always, always, always live with half of it. And half of it, you do never put it at risk. Either save it, put it on the long run, buy precious metals, do whatever you want to, but live with half of your means.
Wow.
And I started doing that. And you know, at the beginning, it was hard. It was very hard
I
because
can't
I
even
was 20
imagine doing that.
something. And I was driving a fancy car all in the starting. I'm going through public transportation, but then it was like, no, I'm going to get back on my feet and I'm going to spend twice what I make. You know, that's what my thoughts were so regretful about what I went through. And then I realized, no, that doesn't work like that. You have to find, and then my dad told me the best businesses are the ones that you start with zero money. I was like, come on, that's not going to happen. And that ties everything back to what I was telling you, how I started with window cleaning. I was given the opportunity of make money out of an equipment that it was not even mine. And then I was able to buy it instead of purchasing, you know, instead of financing. I'm so bad at financing stuff that I rather buy what I can afford than the fancy one that I can finance.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's some sort of how I started. I always thought of. Okay, so whatever you do, just save some money. Now, another controversial thing that I always tell, especially now that I'm doing these sort of business consulting, business assistance. I mean, helping people be successful, at least sharing my experience. If they can take an advantage of it, I'm more than happy to
Mhm.
share that. Is that, you know, something? Always, always, always have an exit plan.
Yeah.
Don't plan for failure, but have a plan in case there's a failure, which is
Mhm.
very different
Yes.
because you never know. It really, you never know.
Yep.
Something we have, there's one thing we don't have a guarantee on. That's if we're going to wake up tomorrow. So I always say, you know something, have a plan in place. So when this came along, you know, at the beginning, and I'm very much, you can retrieve that from my very first post. When hey, I don't know what to do. This is what's going on. I was in shock, but I knew something will come along. I knew that I could do something else. I knew that. I mean, first and foremost, my best backup plan is my family, the support of my family. While
Sure.
I was freaking out, my wife was so happy of having me 24 hours a day here in the house. Okay. I mowed my lawn like 3 days, 3 days in a row, and I was like, no, this
It
is
was
not taking me nowhere.
tailored, huh? Tailored lawn.
Yeah. And but you know, it's just plan for that. Have a plan in case this
Yeah.
happens, in case tomorrow you can't do it no more.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
I,
I totally agree with that. I just what I would compare it to is like when I was first learning how to drive, I had a tendency to ride the brake a lot, and like what you know, well, as it kind of came to my mind that I was afraid because I'm like ready to hit the brake. So I'm ready to jump, and if a danger comes, I'm ready to hit the brake right away, and that's a problem, right? Because it wears down the brake pads. It's just not safe driving.
yeah,
But having brakes is important, and making sure brakes are working is important. You use them when you need to, and then if there's an emergency, you can slam on those brakes, and you're going to avoid the danger, or at least try to avoid the danger. And I think sometimes like you said, we're afraid to. We almost want to burn the boats, right? That's kind of the expression when you do something, you want to burn the boats because it's like this is the only way it's going to work, and if it doesn't work, we die. And it's like, you don't really have to burn the boats. you could still have a good ride and enjoy where
Well,
you're at, and then be able to make a change later on if you need to. It's
or,
just business.
or if needed, I mean, because sometimes you have to burn the boat. Before doing that, learn to swim.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. Let that go through. My dad, he was a man of sayings, right? Another thing that my dad always said, you know something? We arrive to this world naked and we leave naked.
Mm-hmm.
So just go through that. Everything, every single belonging around you is not yours.
Yeah.
It's just you just borrow it, okay? You pay to be able to borrow whatever it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what my advice there will be, you know something? Always keep on thinking about what you're doing today, about what you're learning today. How can you use it if at some point you can't do what you're doing right now? It might, I mean, the words might sound a little bit tricky, but believe me, I've applied a lot of stuff that I've learned from cleaning windows to something else that you are like, really, you learned that from there? I mean, knowing the ratio in between water and soap for washing dishes, I'm going to tell you, I become a master on that thing. So always think of what you can do. Besides that, what value it can bring into your life. Another one that I can share with you. I mean, with my kid, he goes out with me when he's not in school. He's really good. He's in the high school and he's with the marching band. Okay. But whenever he has a chance, when he's off season, he goes out there with me and clean window, and I pay him the same rate that I would pay if I had an employee. And he was like, Dad, I mean, do you really pay that to your employees? And sure. He was like, whoa, I mean, I can live off of that. Well, you're living off of that, my dear, you know. He was like, well, wait a minute. But with that, what I'm trying to say is, you know something? He wanted the fanciest iPhone ever. I said, yeah, I'll give you half of it because that's how much I can afford. But if you want it, you go out there and work for me. At the end of the season, he was almost $3,000 in the pocket. And he was like, you ready for your iPhone? He was like, which one is the one that I can get without paying nothing? Oh, that's the iPhone minus 12. Get me that one. I don't care about the brand new one.
See, but I love that. And I think that you should, especially if you're a business owner, like introduce those business concepts to your children early. I know with our daughter, we because she has an allowance. It's not much, but it's enough for little treats here and there. But if she wants to make money, we have things that she can do. Like, for instance, she's really good at video editing. So my wife, with what she does, she'll send her a video and says, okay, I'll pay you $10 to do this, make this video look nice, look professional. And she'll do it. And it takes her some time. It takes her a good, 45 minutes to an hour to do it. And she gets done. She's like, okay, here it is. And she's like, okay. But now she's understanding that if she wants the bigger gifts or the bigger toys that she wants to get with her allowance, she's learning that equals work. It's not just something that is just handed over to her. And there's certain, obviously she has chores around the house that she needs to do, but helping her understand that there's things that you can do. You can be smart as a business person, and you can make more money if you understand where the niches are. Right?
Oh yeah.
So
and not only that, my kid now knows how many work hours he needs to put into buying something.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm very happy because he's beyond the value of money.
Yeah.
He knows now the effort. He was, I want this. He recently purchased himself a tuba, which was not a cheap investment, but he was like, oh, this is worth this many hours. Okay, I'm willing to put them in. Okay. He's thinking of buying his car in a year. Okay, this is how much it's worth. He was like, well, the day does not have more hours than 24 that I'm not going to be able to make it. Well, at least you have some instead of none, right? We'll figure out in a year what, if I can help you with something or what you can do with it to make more money and be able to purchase the car you want.
Well, my daughter too said kind of something similar too. I remember she was asking about a phone because she has a phone It's not the best, but it's a workable phone. And she was asking about upgrading too, kind of like what your son was talking about. And she asked how much it cost, and I told her the price, and she was like, "Oh man, that would take forever to earn the money." But I could see her little wheels turning in her head because she's not comparing it to just vague numbers that she doesn't understand. She's comparing it to, oh, I know what it takes to make this amount of money. So
Mhm.
now I'd have to work even that much more to make that amount of money. And she's like, "Oh, do I really want to work that much?"
That
So
and the other one, they get to an age. I don't know what age is yours, but mine is 15. After 11, they start comparing with each other at school. Oh,
yeah,
my
oh,
friend this has it.
100%.
My friend that. Oh yeah, sure.
That
You can
happened
have it
early.
as well. But
My daughter was asking for an iPhone 12 like when she was in sixth grade or something. I'm like, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, you're not getting that. When you get
mm,
older, you can buy your own, but we're not providing that for you, you know." But yeah, exactly. And they have a more of an appreciation that it's not just something that's easy to get, because what happens is when they get out on their own, then they're entitled. They feel entitled to get these things that they had when they were at home, and now they're upset or they get frustrated and discouraged because now they're struggling to get it in the real world. So I just think it's neat to be able to teach those lessons to your children early, so that when
mhm.
they do go on, they're a little bit more prepared, to handle those ups and downs of the economy that they're trying to figure out. So
That one, Gabe, and another one that I would like to share is that, and this is specific for window cleaning, okay, for window cleaners, is that if you're out there and you're wearing yourself out because you're completely booked,
mhm,
right? And maybe you decide to go the route of hiring employees. Well, so be it. But be mindful that that's not the only way.
mhm,
It might be the way. It was a little bit scary for me, I'm going to tell you, because I'm in semi-retirement. But if I get a call or if I have on a schedule one of the customers that I kept, the ones that are beyond 7,500, 750 or above, I mean, I get up 1, 2 calls in a week for $1,000 job. I'll go, even if I take the whole 8 hours of my shift or less than that or whatever. I'll go. So
mhm,
think of that. Maybe you are underpriced,
mhm,
right? Maybe bring it up a little bit. I mean, and there is room for everyone. I know front store window cleaners that they kill it, that
mhm.
they are really good at it. In my condition, I just can't get into that. I mean, my shoulder is busted. I just can't do it. And
Yeah.
there is always room. There will always be someone willing to pay twice that you are charging
Yes.
for a job. Now,
Yeah.
finding that segment, that's another whole story, but
Yes.
there's always room.
Which
That's why
we'll
someone,
Yeah, which we'll get into, because I do want to talk to you about your skills on that. But just about what you're talking, I think that is one of the hardest conversations to have with a business owner who's kind of comfortable where they're at, where they're booked out, like you said, 3-4 months, and they like having that booked out. They like that sense of security that comes with that. And then you're trying to tell them, yeah, but what that means is you're not charging enough, because people are willing to wait 3-4 months for you, because they'd rather pay you because you're cheaper than your other competitors, and you have room to, maybe you raise your prices and now you're only booked up 2 months, which is still pretty
mhm,
good. That's still really good, but the goal would be to work to make the same amount or more, but work less. And
correct.
that's where you're valuing your time and your worth. And that's a hard thing for people to wrap their mind around. And you could see the fear in their eyes. Oh, but if I raise rates, everyone's going to go somewhere else. And it's like, well, no, but if you're doing a good job, if your quality's there, they're not going anywhere, because that's what's hard to find, right? It's
Giving
easy to
you
find other window cleaners who charge cheap. It's hard to find a quality window cleaner, and that's who you want to keep.
giving you an example with that one, okay? And of course, I'm not going to disclose where that happens because I don't want nobody coming after my customer. But there is a strip mall here in San Antonio, okay? Which is more other than a strip mall, is more like a one of those like business complexes that they have
Mm,
a mixture of stores but offices or stuff like that. Okay, I have a customer that I go every 2 weeks. Okay, I charge him $90. for 8 windows, and he tips me $200.
Mm.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm not letting that go away. And that is a storefront.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the count, based off of, all the forums and charge $1.50 by the count, that would be maybe a $15-20 customer.
Yeah. Pain. Yeah.
And I'm charging him that, and I'm getting tipped that amount.
Wow.
Of course, I go and do his house as well, right? Yeah. And if I go there every other week and do just the outside, and I don't charge him nothing. Of course, I don't have a face for charge. And he's always like, no. Let me at least tip you. I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm cool. But the guy, I'm getting from that only job almost $300 a month.
That's awesome.
So there is always money. I'm going to call them. There is always money in the dark places.
Just got to find it. Right? You got to shine the light on them.
Yeah, you just got to find them. You're completely right.
Speaking of shining light on our business, so since you've been in semi-retirement, you've kind of gone into a different, I don't know what you would call it, enterprise, I guess you could call it.
I would say mindset.
Mindset. Okay.
Once a window cleaner, always a window cleaner. I'm going to tell you. So let me share with you. I didn't mind to interrupt you, okay, but let me share what brought me into this. Okay. So what brought me into this is that, and you guys out there, just make out your numbers, okay? I used to have a cleaning company that was selling a little bit above $500,000 a year. My investment for all my media marketing was almost reaching $65-70 a year. Okay. That included everything: pay-per-click, Yelp, Google ads, Facebook ads, you name it. I was everywhere. You would Google residential cleaning or house cleaning or maid services in San Antonio, and there was no way I was not going to pop up on top of the top, right? Which at the moment I thought it was good. It was bringing business. We took that business. It was selling a little bit less than $10,000 a month, and we make it happen to be above $500,000 a year.
Wow. So
we went from $100,000, and that was within 4 years. Okay. So the investment was worth, right? The one argument I always had with everyone that showed up, even with the guys that were doing my media marketing, it was, if I'm going to put, and he was my thought, okay? They were always like, how much you want to put into it? And I say, how much I need to put into it? Because that's something that always they say, how much you want to spend?
Yeah.
What's your budget? I don't care about the budget. That's what I was having. And I always have that argument with them. I don't care about it. You tell me how much money I need to put into it to have enough leads to grow my sales. And for some reason, we always got caught up into that. My wife kicked in. She was managing the thing. I was the back office always, but I was always in these meetings, and I would always back out, and she would close the deal and do whatever, right? Because I never got an answer. I never got a straightforward answer. If you put $1,000, we expect you to have at least this amount of sales in leads. Okay? Never, ever. And I talked to very well-known nationwide companies, I'm going to tell you. And those were the roughest conversations, I bet, to the day that they had with the customer. But we were getting nowhere. So that's what I started digging into it, learning about it. I became Google certified to whatever single certification towards the Google algorithm it's out there. Okay. And I came to realize, and that became afterwards a frustration. And I'm gonna share the story, and then I'm gonna go back a little bit to share my knowledge. If I derail from that, I will kindly ask you to remind me. Okay.
Okay.
I get too excited about sharing this with and especially with fellow Flomies. So after I went through that thing, I got so frustrated realizing that I could have gotten better results about generating leads, putting no more than half of what I invested through those 5 years. that was such a frustration. At that moment, my investment became an expense,
Mm.
and it made me really mad.
Sure.
I felt like I was taken advantage. I felt I was robbed. I never got a straight answer. I knew in the back of my head there was some sneaky thought happening around, but I was never able to narrow it down as to how to make it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to regret, because remember what I said a few minutes back. I say, always think of whatever you learn, what you were doing, including window cleaning, mopping and squeeging a window. Always try to find the knowledge, the skill you're acquiring, and how to apply it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to that, I thought to myself, wait a minute. If that happened to me, I'm pretty much sure I'm not the dumbest guy that everyone was leaving out of me, sucking out my hard-earned dollars. I'm pretty much sure someone else is going through that, and maybe they are not even aware of, because that's the rules of the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got to pay this much. Oh, Google ads. Oh, YouTube ads. They overwhelm you, and you're trying to run a business, and they say it in ways that in ways that it makes sense to you, that you say, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah. $5,000, $4,000. That's going to be $50,000. Yeah. I'm running a $500,000 company. I'm running. Yeah, sure. It makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. Believe me, of what I found out. And that's what brought me into it after my early stages of drama, knowing that I'm not going to be able to clean windows on a daily basis, how I was doing it. I thought to myself, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And it was an aha moment somewhere around 3 a.m. a few months back. I was like, if I can put everything I learned about it of service to someone else, that would be nice. Now, I started like writing down what I don't want it to be, because that's what I felt I was taken advantage of. And in a few words, right now I'm going to tell you, I have found, and not just the Google algorithm, I'm going to tell you every single effort. There's a lot of things that I can share with you that you can start getting more sales, that you don't need to pay for that. Let me give you a couple. Okay. Out of all your customers right now, do you have a referral plan? Hey, if you refer me to your neighbor, next time around, I'll give you 50% discount on your clean.
Wow, as high as
Someone,
50%?
why not?
Wow.
You just earned a new customer,
Mm-hmm.
right? How much? The question will be, and I'm happy you came up with that. Like, what, 50%? Let me ask you something, Gabe. How much are you willing? And let's narrow it out. Let's think for a minute that nobody is out there being able to listen to this conversation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gabe, in your mind and your many years of experience, how much is your customer acquisition?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's the very first thing,
Mm-hmm.
Let's find it out. Let's find out what's your customer acquisition. And from there, right? How much are you willing to give us off a discount for someone? You'll be amazed. Believe me, you went like, is this guy's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not like he got too much heat exhaustion out there by saying that, right? But believe me, if you give your customer a 50% discount next time around, and that customer gives you a referral for one or two more, it's worth it. It's really worth, because now you have two customers. You have two customers that you can line them up because they are nearby, same street, same subdivision, same whatever. You can schedule one first and the other one afterwards, instead of going back somewhere. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe what's going to happen is that you go into that street or that subdivision, and instead of coming out with a 250 invoice, maybe you're coming out with two invoices out of 250. How much is worth for you to go in and make twice the revenue that you were making before? And maybe you can say, hey, maybe 50 is too much. Okay, that works. But at least I brought you conscious over that.
Mm-hmm.
You know the craziest thing that I've done? Going into a place, the guy was so happy about the outcome of the windows. Right at that moment, he went out knocking on the doors of the neighbors. Believe me, telling them about it.
You paid him to be your salesman, huh?
Now let me tell you something. Do you know how much I charged him for cleaning his windows?
How much?
It was free because he lined me up
Referred.
three
Yeah.
more neighbors.
Right.
So next time around, I had 4 houses to go through, and I walk out of there with more than 2,500 instead of going in and just charging $500. So it was worth the $500 for walking away with 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the customers. Now the ball is on my side.
So let me just ask you real quick. So you're saying, let's say it's a $500 job. You're saying, 50% off for referrals. Is that for each referral?
That is if you refer me to one person, I mean, this is how I work it out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you give me a referral for one person, I give you a 50% discount, and that's it. Now, if you give me 3 or 4, there's no way I'm going to be paying you back, right? So what I say, and I never tell them, oh, I'll give you a 50% referral. No, I tell, hey, will you refer me to your customers? And this is how I put it. So you love your job. Oh, thank you very much. I love it. Thank you. This is your payment. Beautiful. Now, can I ask you something? Sure. If you are so happy and you ever thought of giving me a referral, that would really help me. And you know why? Because 1, I will be very happy growing my business. And 2, I'll be in a position of maybe, and this is how I point it out, maybe giving you some sort of a benefit, a freebie. I'll do something for you. Maybe next time around, I'll clean your screens for free. I'm not telling them I'm not committing to nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I leave the surprise factor as a trick on my hat, in my hat, as to say, and then that I realize how much that referral was, then I can come back and say, hey, something, this is what I'm going to do for you.
Yeah.
And you can, I'm sorry, and you can go from, I'll do the screen cleaning for free up to, something, I'm going to give you $100 discount. I'm going to give you, I've gone at the point as to, something, I'll ship out some Tiff Streets cookies to you. Because during the conversation, the customer told me, oh, my kid loves Tiff Streets. There's another place here in town that's called Nothing Bund Cake.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you have those.
Okay. Oh, they love it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So I sent them some freebies and they were like, oh, thank you. You didn't have to do it, ma'am. I mean, I don't tell them, right? But you just lined up $3,000 revenue for me and you're telling me not to do so? Come on.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, hey, give away up to hurt your business, but give away some. You'll be amazed how much that will bring you back.
Nice. Well, we're almost out of time. We only got about 5 to 10 more minutes here left, but I did want you to talk a little bit about what, I know we were already kind of touching in on what you do with MC2 Synergia. Could you explain a little bit about how a window cleaner could take advantage of your assistant?
Sure. Well, the one thing will be, don't take nobody's word for the truth, especially those out there that are saying, hey, I'm going to fix your SEO. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, there are many ways of doing it. Okay. Find referrals, a customer referral plan to try to give out, door knocking. If it's allowed, if it's not illegal in your area, go ahead and do it. Door hangers, do volunteer work at your kids' school, at your local church. But bring your brand around. So maybe you're not offering nothing by being a window cleaner, but just show up in your uniform on your work shirt saying, hey, we're here, we're supporting you. That spreads the word around, right? And just do it. Just be out there. Be proud of what you do and let people know that you're proud of what you do. That brings a lot of positivity. That brings a lot of attention on you.
Nice.
And the other one will be if anyone, if any flow me is interested in learning a little bit more about how to put to work and we mentioned SEO, we mentioned the Google algorithm. It's beyond that, right?
Yeah.
It is like, hey, in order for you to be healthy, you need to go to the doctor. No, you need to exercise. You need to, eat good. You need to do a lot of things, right? That's how I put it on perspective. SEO is not the holy grail. The Google algorithm is not the holy grail. It's how you put it to work for you and at what stage you're at. So the one thing that I want to offer to everyone listening to, and I know it's going to take some of my time, but I'm willing to assist. I'm going to say up to 5 fellow Flummies, or you know something. No, let's show some love. Let's do up to 10 fellow Flummies. You need to reach out to Gabe, and Gabe's going to keep track of that from 1 to 10. Okay, I'm going to give away what I call it's going to be a freebie. Okay, so what I call a digital footprint analysis.
Okay.
I'll go in, use all the software and everything, every software and piece of equipment I have purchased to do that. I'm going to offer that for free. That usually I charge for that $2.99 just to do the footprint, the digital footprint analysis. Okay, just to see where is your business at, what you can do, and to improve your lead generation. That'll be up to you. Or I can work with you further on as to say, hey, we can do this, and that. But at least that digital footprint analysis is going to go out there up to 10. Is 10 enough? Or what do you think?
Oh, that's very generous.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very generous.
I
thought 5 was very generous. So whatever you got 10. Time for. Okay.
I mean, let's do 10 because there's always going to be room for one more,
sure.
Right? But they will need to reach out to you, Gabe, as to say, hey, I want to do that digital footprint analysis. And the reason I call it digital footprint analysis, Gabe, is because I go beyond the SEO, okay? And it's very easy what I'm gonna need from them. Once you line them up, I will need their email, and then I'm gonna send them out a questionnaire, okay? And with that questionnaire, I'm gonna be able to run that data analysis. I'm gonna be able to look at it. Now, the one thing that I want to be very clear about it, okay? If I'll do that for the 10 individuals, okay? The 10 very first one that take the leap of faith and trust on doing that, because it's a leap of faith, I'm going to tell you. If they decide to move forward as to how to improve, once they say yes, I lock that single person and the zip codes they do business for window cleaning, like nobody else goes in, because that's part of my thing. I mean,
right.
All those lead generations that you hire, they are also doing that for the window cleaner next door in your area. So the one thing that I do with every single customer, once we engage in doing something about your digital footprint, that's part of my business principles. I won't assist any other window cleaner in your zip codes because it's unfair. Right. It's an unfair principle. Getting to know your business and then using that information to help someone else, that is a no-no. And just to let you know, if you're not aware of, every single lead generation, Angie's List, Yelp, you name it, Thumbtack, they do it. They don't say it, but they do it. Mm-hmm. And some of them, they say it. So that's how it's been. It's worked with me. I didn't expect to have that many customers knocking on the door. I started this, I'm going to say, 2 months ago, a little less than 2 months ago. And I am very happy. I've been very happy helping people bring that awareness. And from there, you decide if you want to move forward or not. Because I've also got those kind of customers, no, I'm okay with it. Sure. But now you have more awareness of your digital footprint.
Sure. Awesome.
So yeah, that'll be something for fellow Flummies. Don't be scared. Just go out there, do what you do, enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, hey, talk to me as well. Yeah. Believe me, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, talk to me. I'm going to tell you, I came across someone. It was before I decided to do this in an organized way. I came across someone that he was very frustrated doing that. He didn't want to move forward. He was starting to get family issues with having that business. So at the end, he was looking for help to increase sales, to be a better business owner. And you know what was the outcome? I helped that person how to set up the business, put it in the market, and sell it.
Mm.
So
you're kind of like a consultant then, almost, right?
I wouldn't call myself a consultant because that takes a lot of knowledge. I'm just a down to earth guy that is good at looking at numbers and at what you do, and just share with you my experience, and you decide from there.
Nice. Well, Cesar, thank you so much for your time, man. So Flomies, you heard him. If you are one of 10 people who want some assistance with your website, maybe want some assistance with helping to kind of streamline the way that you market yourself to your potential clients, Cesar is going to use all his years of experience to assist you. So like he said, you can DM me, or you can send me a message by email, however you want to reach me. And I'll put him in touch with you if it's something that you want to take advantage of. So well, thank you so much for your time. Anything else you want to share before we sign off here?
No, the only thing will be the one thing that I will ask back from the 10 volunteers, it will be to later on share their experience. Maybe we can have a forum, because this is a two-way thing. The reason I'm doing this is because all of the support that I got from the Into the Flow group, and the one thing that I've learned is that always give back of what you get. That would be the only thing that I will ask. Hey, you know something? Let's hear back from you guys after that. The one, it will allow me to learn about their experience and how to improve. And two, hey, sharing is caring, like my little one says, sharing is caring. So if we share, I'm pretty much sure this will make a better group, a better Facebook professional group out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cesar, as always. And thank you, Flomies, for listening. We appreciate your input, and we appreciate your support as always. So you guys take care and flow on.